Hi guys, welcome back to my channel, and I'm gonna do like a reading type vlog or whatever this is to record my reactions for reading Look on the Bright Side by the same girl who did the period graphic novel that I have a review written up of. And so I was gonna start actually recording it when I found out that she posted, taking my headphones, when she published a sequel. So I was like, I'm gonna hold off till I finish reading it, and I finally found my library card so I could get it on Libby. So I'm giving my reactions to this sequel, and then I think this is gonna come out, and then my thoughts as a document, not a document, but as me writing it down, thinking it over, is gonna come out at a later date. So basically, right, the premise of the book is, actually I don't even know. All I know that I read the first book, which is about periods, and this friend group, Abby, is periods suck and people have it really bad. And she's coming to the real world that people have it really bad sometimes. And then the black girl, she has really bad period pains. And then the youngest girl, she just moved and she had her first period. And one girl is a lesbian, but they don't use the word gay or lesbian. And everyone has period troubles besides her. And I find it weird that she doesn't have any period problems. And the way the first book ends is that a guy comes on to her, she's no, and the grandma's just yeah, the woman in this family beats their own drum, and it's so incredibly stupid. It's so stupid. Oh my god. Okay. So our main girl, what's her name? Abby, she has a blog that she just talks about. She educates them. She really doesn't know anything about what she's talking about, because she Googles it, reads it, summarizes it, and posts it. So I feel she has no business doing what she does. She's this period blog that's been going on for, they're juniors now. I think in the first book they were sophomores. I think it's either been a year or two, one or the other. I gotta reread the first book, to be honest with you. She has this period blog. It's not going that well. The views are really down, which makes sense because she went viral for essentially graffiti. She graffitied the school. The author told young kids, yeah, if you graffiti the school for a good cause, you're gonna come out on top, right? Which is crazy. Radical change is graffiti, but radical, sometimes it doesn't work, right? And I feel it would be a good chance to do administrative, right? You gotta go through the processes. So I'm at page 76. And I'm trying to figure out why Abby went to the principal's office. What's funny is that, for her to be so radical is, really liberal, really, being strong here. For her to be so radical about change and fighting for, minorities, and she's, a white teenager, her not knowing that there's a club where, people of all spaces, it's, the Unicorn Club, so, LGBTQ club. If she didn't know about that, I think it's really strange, because you're supposed to fight for all these minorities, but you're not gonna look in your community. And this isn't a new club. This is in it, right? Low-key, whenever I see K-pop in a book, I'm okay, I see they got you. And I say that with K-pop behind me, okay? So when I say they got you, I'm being very joking here. But it's just in the first book, it felt they're just ticking off boxes. Yes, there is a bully, right, who's jealous. Yes, same bully is also low-key misogynistic, check. But at the end, she needs a period pad, and the girl she harassed and torments gives a tampon to her. So therefore, we're all giggling. What? I hated that. Oh my god, I hated it. This book, people use woke negative sometimes. That first book was woke negative. Okay, it was woke negative, but I'm gonna read 30 pages, right? And then when I have something to say, I'll say it to you then. I just shut off the camera, but I remember it. In the first book, she low-key used her friends as props to for her movement without telling them anything. And then in the second book, one of her friends, her name was Bree, she has a crush on guys, right? And I feel in my heart of hearts, one of the new characters, I forgot his name, he's supposedly a jerk or whatever, he's a nerd or whatever, and he is in this allies club because his little brother's coming out as transfer this summer, and he wants to be a better big brother, right? I feel in my heart of hearts, in my soul of souls, that Abby, these people's names, Abby is going to say something about that guy having a trans little brother to Bree at some point, and that's not her business to share. Like, he's like, I feel in my bones. Editor Fola here. I was off about that, but also I wasn't, because I knew I knew Brie would cause some issue with her friends, you know? So I was wrong, but I was right. I'm not gonna lie and act like I'm gonna come on here when I get 50 pages in. I just would say, Brie is liking this guy. I think his name is Jorge. And he's using her, girl. He's using you. He's using you. Okay, because you hate the nerd who's like, what's this? Hold on, I need to find the man's name. Fitz. Fitz is a guy from her AP English class or whatever, right? And he's rude, he's mean or whatever, but Jorge, it's like, once you see them interact, it's so painfully obvious that he is using her to get homework help, to get the answers, because they're in a study group, right? Jorge is like, oh, like, can you summarize it? And Fitch is like, you should have done the reading, nigga. And then, she didn't say nigga, obviously, right? But, and so Fitch is just like, well, I want to hear Britt's interpretation. And Fitch is like, Britt's interpretation doesn't matter. You didn't do the reading. Why are we sitting here summarizing it when you should have done the reading before you came in here? Okay, they had a test, right? Jorge is throwing her off her game, and I'm calling it now. She's gonna bomb that test. And I scanned the next page, and it's she's trying to cheat. Like, Britt. And Fitz is in the back being like, glaring her down. Yo, can you read that? Can you read that? Okay? And where's what the second oh my god, like, Fitch is so the second he came on screen and the sister was being rude to him for no other reason than him just being there, I knew, oh yeah, no, this is a joke. Okay, I hate the little sister, and y'all are being mean to Fitz for no reason. He's trying his best, and he got a crush on you. Okay, I'm calling it now. He got a crush on you. God, I hate reading. Also, I'm not gonna lie, I feel like the illustrator, their emotions aren't super clear, and they low-key have to write pouts, cause take it away, it's just weird. I don't know, I feel like the emotions aren't that well displayed. I don't know. So basically, this is all over the place. If you want to stick along, I don't know what to tell you. Basically, Christine got a crush on Abby, right? And so it's been a year, right? And it's been the summer, right? And low-key, I thought it would be a bigger time skip, but it's the summer just ended. So basically, Christine got a crush on Abby. We're seeing Christine trying to figure out how she's gonna tell Abby she got a crush on her. I'm 39% of the way done. We know that Christine has some trauma. She wasn't really that fleshed out in the first book, so I like that we're getting more her thoughts, her feelings at this current situation and moment in time. And we know she was in therapy, I assume just over the summer, because she never mentioned any of this in the first book about her mom leaving her and stuff, and she's afraid to say the G word. And I think that's cool. I'm glad we're finally getting pieces of Christine's personality besides being funny. I think it's interesting that a book about periods, and then the one person who doesn't have an issue with their period or periods in general is gay. I think that's an interesting choice to make. So Sasha's having a panic attack. Oh, not Sasha. I think her name is Sasha. Yeah, Sasha was right. Sasha's having a panic attack because she just got a report card, she got all C's, and she got a boyfriend, and she was really chilling on doing schoolwork, and her parent, people were on her just are you gonna you're hanging out with your boyfriend a lot lately? And she's essentially having a panic attack. She's like, oh my god, I hate who I am, but I had a boy, and I got a boyfriend, and everything fell apart. And I'm it's pissing me off, because I'm girl, it's not that serious, calm down. Because I know it's not that serious, but I also understand completely how it feels to be your life is ending because you got some C's, right? But FaceTiming a best friend crying about them grades? Very realistic. I think it's very cute. Honestly, I think this is gonna sound really harsh, but I think the best part of the books are only the part with Sasha in it. But Sasha when she's interacting with everyone besides Abby. I'm gonna just say it. Because Abby roping Sasha into her, like, periods campaign, even though, like, Sasha was getting hazed because she, like, bled through her pants first day of high school, is, like, insanity. And that, they let that go too easily. Because what do you mean, like, Sasha was getting hazed and nothing was ever really done with it? Not even, like, a failed attempt at the principal's office, you know what I mean? And it makes sense why Sasha didn't go to the principal or teacher, because, like, she's nervous, you know, tell, But it's like nothing ever happened to the bullies, you know what I mean? If anything, we're shown Sasha, like, semi-forgiving the bully, you know what I mean? I feel like this book or the first book supposed to want to be more than what it is. They kept dumbing things down because this is for, like, middle schoolers, like, mid-high schooler, but they keep wanting to do, like, deep topics. It's like, we're dumbing this down, but also, like, you're talking about a lot of things, so it just makes Abby especially just look stupid, because it's just, like, I can't read a book about a white girl being like, oh my god, like, people have it bad, guys, like, what? It was like, some people can't even afford food, and it's like, someone can't even afford food, and it's like, yeah, I can't engage. Also, Abby is it's not secretive, but, like, she doesn't really talk about her going to that club meeting, which I think is interesting, because in the first book, she would be shoving that down their throats, but maybe it's because she finally felt some like, not shame, but, like, she feels, like, embarrassed or something because, like, her blog isn't doing that well. But it's so weird because, like, they praised her, like, committing graffiti and teaching a weird lesson to kids. Because, like, yeah, she got in trouble for, like, 2 days of suspension, and, like, her friends forgave her super quickly. The lesson was, like, do public damage, and, like, you won't get in real trouble. Even though, real life, they probably would have pressed charges on you, girl. Especially if you weren't white, they probably would have pressed charges on you for all that damage she did. Not even damage, but, like, you graffiti these walls. Like, what are you doing? But, like, whatever. Funny how, like, 1 year a principal's super into the football team and, like, not really having period products, and the following, like, school semester, it's, like, not, like, a liberal, like, I don't say liberal, but, like, the principal's, like, super woke, is, like, replacing him, and they haven't acknowledged it yet, and I think that's kind of strange, because, like, in my opinion, real world, that principal would still be there, right? Like, and I feel like, in the first book, they were going very for, like, real world approach. Like, some that's going on a budget, some that the principal just don't care, right? So, like, real world, that principal should have stayed being the principal. Now, I feel like the systemic problem of, like, not having thing, it's, like, the big bad of, like, the principal not being on their side is, like, no longer there. Which I think, like, that's very unrealistic. Because, like, I feel like this is a very, like, semi-realistic book, especially when it comes to issues about, like, period products. I don't know. Editor Fola here. Yeah, no, they definitely never mentioned, like, the old principal, which I think is so funny, considering how it's in the footage. Like, the principal was one of the big bads, right? The big bads were the principal not caring that much and not taking period problems and, like, periods as like a thing real. Or, like, and the second big bad is they didn't have no money, right? Like, that was the issue. Like, they never acknowledged, like, the budget or the principal ever again in the second book. It's like, okay. Graham is gay. Christine goes to the gay club. She sees Abby in there. She's like, right? And then, like, Sasha's like, what? Actually, where's this at? And Christine's like, Graham is gay. And I thought that was, like, low-key obvious, because of the way Graham was like, sometimes the women in the family beat the own drums in the first book, right? Like, I thought it was deeply, like, yeah, like, we're just arguing to the gay part out loud, you know? Like, Graham's gay. That's why she responded like that. God. I'm gonna make up a scenario, right? And I'm gonna tell you how I feel about it, right? So let's say I have a friend named Frank, right? Frank tells me, oh, my granny is gay, right? And so, awesome, cool. I'm like, cool. Don't know why I should know or care, but cool, granny gay. I go over to Frank's house to pick up something, and I see his granny, and I say, just to clear the air, Frank told me I think it's really cool. What kind of person says that? Because that's what Abby says to Christine's granny. Why, mind you, granny is just living her life. And you just walk up to her and say, just to clear the air? Why isn't the air clear? Because to me, granny don't know that Christine told her friend that she's gay. But either way, one, why would you tell that to granny? Like, what sense does that make? You've been joining the gay club for like, what, 2-3 weeks, and you don't know to just like walk up to somebody and be like, hey, I know you're gay? What? Or to clear the air. Like, why would you do that? And Christine rushes her out, and Abby's like, what's wrong? Like Abby loves to be offensive and just not think anything through. Why would you say that? To just walk to someone who hasn't told me they're gay, right? And like, we live in a society where like, yeah, online gay people are accepted, but in reality, gay people still, in fact, face marginalization and homophobia, right? Like, in the real world, this happens. Someone tells me that someone else is gay, I'm not going to walk up to them and go, just to clear the air. I think it's cool. And I feel in my heart of hearts, my souls of souls, that the book isn't going to talk about how that's very strange and how Abby, like, what's wrong with you, Abby? I feel like they're just going to brush it off and be like, that's not really cool, and they never acknowledge it again. Because why would you say that? That's so not okay. That's so not okay. And I know Christine isn't going to say what needs to be said because she got a crush on Abby. Editor full of her, and like, also, just so you guys know, in universe, homophobia is canon. like the guy, like the little brother that's trans, he experienced homophobia from, I think his name is Jose, that guy, right? Like, he experienced homophobia. So, Like, why would you do that? Why would you do that, Abby? And Granny just lost. Granny's literally just like, question mark? Question mark? Like, what was that? Like, that pissed me off so bad. Like, I knew when I read the book, I was like, it was gonna piss me off, but like, okay, so Fitz, oh god, this book is fucking pissing me off. Bree saw Fitz take down posters, right? Context. Abby put up those posters for, like, a thing she's doing, and so when Bree saw Fitz rip them down, Bree's like, oh my god, like, Fitz is such a jerk, like, I knew it was like this. Bree is like, Fitz, like, confesses his feelings, and, like, she goes in some long-winded paragraph, and Fitz is like, what? I'm like, what? And then it's just like, I don't date people who don't respect my friends, and Fitz is like, what on earth are you talking about, right? And so she's like, I saw ripping down his posters. Fish was just like, you should talk to your friend for accusing them of things. And the fact that Abby found out that, like, Fitz took down the posters because it had a typo and didn't clear it up with Bree, the person who told her, yo, like, Fitz was being crazy, is strange. Abby is the real villain. Oh, and when Fitz is like, maybe you should talk to your friends, she's like, you don't know anything about me. Oh my god, I actually hate all these characters. God! Okay, so Abby, like, told him, like, oh, like, I misspelled it and I didn't want to tell anyone about it. And, like, I get that, but, like, you knew that Bree was, like, this is just another example of Abby, like, low-key, like, not thinking about her friends, right? Because you knew that Bree, like, interacted with this guy, like, daily in class and study group, and you knew he would look at him sideways because of her seeing him tear down posters. And for you to just not clearly say, like, oh yeah, like, dude, like, it was a misunderstanding, it's crazy. Also, like, I'm glad to feel some shame, like, oh my god, like, I made that typo, and, like, I plastered the posters all over school. Mind you, I'm glad you found some shame, because last year, girl, you literally graffitied the entire school and was just like, what about it? You dragged all your friends into your nonsense. One that was literally being hazed by a group of kids, and it's just like, what about it? Like, oh my god. I don't know, man, like, Britt is like, oh my god, I was such a jerk. And Abby was just like, it's not your fault. Yeah, girl, it's your fault. Because, like, it made complete utter sense why, like, Bree acted the way she did with Fitz. Like, it does. Like, she sees that she's like, you're a jerk, you're weird, and you don't respect my friends, I'm not gonna date you. Mind you, like, even with regards all of that, like, he called him, like, a privileged jerk. And it's like, okay, like, we've been shown nothing that he's a privileged jerk. A jerk, but what do you mean by privileged? Like, we could argue that you, Bree, are privileged because you have a car, right? Like, what are we doing here? That was just a stupid line to me, because we know, like, his dad owns a store. We have not been shown that he's a privileged jerk. Maybe a condescending jerk, right? Maybe he thinks he's smarter than everyone jerk. But a privileged jerk is such a strange choice of words, right? Like, such a strange choice of words. And, like, this is like low-key Abby's fault, because Abby knew that, like, it was misunderstanding and didn't tell her bestie. Because they're besties. They're like, yo, nah, like, that was a misunderstanding. So, like, I don't blame Brie, but what do you mean, privileged jerk? Girl, what the hell are you talking about? And there's this weird scene where, like, they get close. And to me, it's like, y'all have not, like, I've not been shown anything to where y'all, like, you want to date him, you know? But then again, like, she did have a crush on him. Sorry, my camera died. And, like, we were shown for a, like, little bit that, like, or for, like, a scene, or not even scene, like, a page that, like, she did used to have a crush on him. But, like, we're not shown anything to where, like, I get you, like, feeling like a jerk for, like, yelling at him when, like, it wasn't his fault, right? But, like, for y'all to lean into a kiss, like, I haven't been sold on this romance. However, in defense of the book, I would have leaned in for the kiss too. I don't know why I didn't mention that. If that was me, I would have done it. Without I would have done it. So, oh my god. Graham isn't gay. She lied about it. Because I guess right, like, she was just nervous. She was like, oh my god, she's not gonna say I'm gay. She's gonna say Graham is gay. Right. There was a scene where it's like Christine was asking her Graham, like, some things weren't cool when you were a kid, right? Obviously, it's talking about gay people, right? But it could be a lot of things, right? Grant's old. So, like, to me, it gave, like, oh, Graham is gay. Especially, it's like, Graham probably is gay. I'm just gonna say it because her reaction, the whole, like, last book of, like, Christine, like, pushing a boy and her being like, I don't feel that way about you, or, like, any guy. Graham, like, knowing, right? Her saying, like, the women in this family beats to their own drum and the only woman we see is Christine and her. It's like, okay, well, like, Graham's gay. Basically, they were doing a whole back for, like, Fitz or Jorge. And the next scene is Jorge making out with a girl. And Christina's like, didn't he cheat off of you? Like, let's talk about that. And Brie was just like, well, like, he did, but, like, he's so cute and funny. That's truly how men get you. It's like, yeah, like, this is so, like, some of these moments were such peak high school, because, yeah, girl, like, yeah, men be bad, like, God. Like, I haven't been sold anything, right? Like, we see them go back and forth, straight up. Like, we see them argue about things, and not even in, like, bad faith. They just annoy one another, and I have not been showed anything to where they should be together, right? And, like, I think a lot of this happened outside the book. I promise you. Because, like, the setup of I had a crush on Fitz was before we started the story together, right? So I think a lot of this romance is stuff that happened off screen. I think a lot of it is because I will not be sold in this romance. I think it's cute, I guess, or whatever, but I can't be sold, and you cannot make me buy. I still can't be sold. Maybe it's because, like, the storytelling, maybe it's because of the art. I can't be sold in this romance. I can't. And, like, Fitz got a big house, so I get why, like, you know, he's like privileged jerk, but, like, just because you live in a big house does not mean, like, you're a privileged jerk. Like, God forbid someone's just a jerk. You know what I mean? And I said someone who's underprivileged, right? Like, we have not been shown anything that makes Fitz a privileged jerk. Just a jerk, right? And I think you and Brittany, like, you had a crush on this man. Like, whatever. Also, we haven't seen anything about that girl's blog or how she's an artist, right? She's supposedly an artist, and I just remembered that detail when her mom was like, I'm gonna go paint something. So, you know, of course, you know, what? Abby's mom is bi, right? Or she didn't put a label on it, right? But, like, I'm gonna call it bi. I think a lot of this, like, this is a story that's for children, I get it, but it's, like, not even children, like, this is made for middle schoolers and high schoolers, right? I think this book, I'm, like, I have, like, 60 pages left? I think this book took a lot, like, it's taking what it can chew, right? Like, it's not like the first book, it was taking way more than it could chew and it choked, right? This book, I think they're trying to digest information. It's way less like info dumping about like periods. I think because like they don't really talk about her blog in this book at all, actually. I think that's a very interesting choice because like Abby essentially dropped everything that like made her interesting. You know, the blog, the artwork, her activism. The activism took a very back seat. So like Abby is not the main focus of this book, and I appreciate that. I think this fleshed out the other characters a whole lot more. This book fleshed out the other characters so much more. I don't even miss Abby, and I think I just genuinely don't care about Abby or what she's going through or her struggles. Because to me, I remember I read this book, like, while I was in high school. Like, while I was at the same grade they were. And I hated Abby. I actually hated the book. Like, I thought it was so silly. I thought that the idea of her essentially vandalizing the school and getting suspended, but in the end she still won, was so incredibly crazy to me. Let me Google the definition of asinine real quick. I thought Abby not getting in any road trouble was incredibly asinine. I think the idea of, like, the message to kids is like, yeah, whenever, like, the process is in place or taking too long, if you just do public property damage, you know, we're chill, is asinine. Because she did property damage, and then she got rewarded for it, right? Like, it went viral or whatever, and then, like, a brand, like, put things inside the school, right? What a weird lesson to teach kids, you know? Because, like, in the real world, let you be black or brown, you're not, like, that suspension is gonna be 3 weeks. You're gonna get kicked out of school, and you'll be lucky if you're like allowed back at your high school, right? I think, like, I'm saying a lot of my thoughts for the previous book, but I think this book, it really, like, I wouldn't even say it holds its own, but it's like, it's just better because it's about less, you know? Because the first book, it was just like, period, power, and all this information about periods, while this one is just following the story of these two girls, or of this group of girls, and I think that's what made it so much more enjoyable. But for me, it's not enjoyable because I read the first book, you know, and I'm like, right. So Abby's gay, they kiss, and, like, for as much as the first book set out to answer, not, like, make, like, things that are seen as bad and, like, it's like a stigma, like, not bad, not stigmatized. They don't like talking about hard things. They take the easy way out. I think the easy way out is to, like, allude to the granny being gay, but not really. I think the easy way out is alluding to things of, like, Shasha's or Christine's, like, past, but not really deeping into it. I think it's easy for Abby to not be gay, or to be gay. I think it's the easy way out. Like, I think in this book, like, is, like, it's not like the lazy and easy way out for Abby to be gay if you just read the first book, right? But for me, the second book, like, for this to be a second book in a series, I think for a book that's talking about, like, making, like, systemic change and making, like, things more accessible in the community, because the big bad is, like, administration, right? Budget cuts, right? Like, that's the issue here. The big bad was the budget. The big bad was the principal. And in this book, you know, like, we got a woke principal, guys, right? And I assume they have the money, or they're still getting sponsored by the company who sponsored them in the first book, right? All of the issues that were in the first book got addressed once, and that's it. And that makes sense, except the big bad was administration, right? The big bad was real life issues of administration and people, like, just not caring enough about periods. So for the second book to basically just not mention at all about periods is crazy, because I know, like, the heart of the story is the best friends, but a huge part of Sasha's or Abby's story was periods, you know? Like making this is a better place. And in this book, it's not really, like, basically matter. Right? Like, all of the big bads are effectively gone, but they don't really talk about it either. You know, like, now I guess we have a budget. Now we got a woke principal. We got a gay club now, even though they didn't mention it in the first book, even though it makes complete utter sense why Abby would know about the gay club at school when she's supposed to be so inclusive, right? If this was the first book, I would be like, oh, like, this is just, like, a okay story. But this being a second book after a book about periods, and now this one's about like self-acceptance, but we didn't really pick up where we left, like we picked up where we left off, but not in a like the big bad, because the big bad for Sasha was administration, right? I don't know, like, for something to be so rooted in real world issues, which is like periods and then mixed stigmatize and all that, they don't really have real world solutions, and I find that. But like my thoughts are all over the place. But, like, I stand by, like, for something to be so focused in real world, it's not really acting very real world, you know? I have, like, I have, like, 30 pages left. Like, I know I actually wanted a high school romance, but now that I'm, like, in college, I could not care less. Like, I wanted that so bad in high school. Like, I wanted it so bad. But the idea of walking to class, like, the hallway doesn't mean anything to me now. Like, it meant so much to me at one point. But now, it's like, okay. Low-key, I feel like if Abby wasn't gay, I feel like we'd have, like, it would have, like, a conversation to be, like, sometimes, like, this just don't work out, you know what I mean? Like, crushes aren't reciprocated in friend groups, but, like, it doesn't make it weird, right? Or, like, if we talk, like, or in the first book, we talked about how, like, sometimes administration just sucks, and, like, we make small baby steps toward progress, because to me, like, for the big bad to be, like, administration and budget, I've said it a million times, big bad to be like those two things, and it was like radical. Like, I feel like the story would have been better if Abby was fighting like I'm going to PTA meetings, I'm doing all the things to get people and the parents of the community involved, because like real world, bruh, like one student without like no like backup in like as like a student body, and matter of fact the student body is actually hazing someone for periods, that wouldn't work. I don't know, like I you could really sum it all like this is a book fola, but like the author tied so much like real world and things that happen in the real world and like da 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 da. But for like the solutions to now be rooted in like real world reality is so strange to me. I feel like we could have gone more in depth about like administration and like how to make like systematic change in the system that we have, and like you make that simple of just like her going to PTA meetings, right? Her going to meetings where she's voicing her concerns. Because, like, for the big bad to be budget, she ain't went to, like, a school board meeting saying we need to allocate these funds. You know, like, we didn't see any of that. Like, that would be interesting. Because it could be, like, the adults who are on board who aren't. You know, like, I feel like there's a lot left to be desired. So I finished the book. For her in the author's note to be, like, all people menstruate, trans men, and like all people menstruate, we didn't see a lot of that, okay? We saw the gay club twice. Like, this book wasn't about like menstrual things and like all the things about like menstrual products and all like things like people who menstruate go through. It was talked about in the first 50 pages, and they even the women even said it, the authors even said it, like anything that we couldn't fit in the first book, we just threw it in here. And that's obvious by how in the first bit of the book, it's like, oh, I guess we're still on the periods kick. And then you get to the actual part of the book, it's like, actually, we're not. I would rate this book 2 stars. It would be a 2.5 if I didn't read the first book and I was going in with just the second book. But it's a 2 because I've read the first book. So yeah, this is all over the place. But I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye. Alright, like and subscribe. I didn't even get to that part.